Welcome to Resource Sessions. I'm Gwendolyn Sterk of Sterk Family Law, and I'm honored today to have with us Lark, serving people with developmental disabilities. And I have both Ernie and Julie with from the organization. How are you guys today?
We're good.
Doing
How are
well.
you?
We're great. Thank you so much. We're excited to learn about your organization. So, Julie, why don't you tell us a little bit about what the organization does?
So here at Lark, we serve individuals with developmental disabilities, as you can see there in our logo. We offer a variety of services. We have a residential program with community integrated living arrangements. So we have individuals who live in homes in the community that we staff 24 hours, and they get to participate in the community and do everything just like anybody else would. And then we also have a day program here where we have individuals come to our building, and we offer things like job training, cooking class, community outings, all sorts of different things. And so we really work to help our clients, our individuals with developmental disabilities, to lead quality and independent and engaging lives.
That's great. So, Ernie, tell us a little bit about your role at the organization.
Well, I'm the executive director. I've been with Lark since June of 2017.
Yeah.
I came here in this role after being in child welfare and mental health for about 35 years. And so I started working with adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities probably a couple years before I came here. Um, so my job is to oversee the organization, to make sure that we're providing good quality services, looking at growth and expansion, and keeping up with the changes in the industry that have happened over the last 8 years.
Sure. It's absolutely wonderful that you provide residential arrangements for people with developmental disabilities. So is that similar to what's been referred to in the past as a SILA home?
Yes,
And
and
can
that's
you
Julie,
explain? Go
yeah,
ahead.
called it community integrated living arrangements.
Okay.
And that's what SILA, the initials for SILA. Um, and it's just that individuals have a place to live. A lot of them, a lot of our clients don't really have any family anymore. Average age of our clients living in our group homes is about 55.
Okay.
Um, our oldest is 74.
Mhm. Wow. Fantastic that you service that community, right?
Right. And and so they live there. We actually have a lease agreement with them, so that it's like they're tenants in the houses.
Sure.
It's their home, and we just work there. Um, so we're hoping that they have a quality life, a life like just yours and mine.
Sure.
They have their own rooms. They have say in what groceries are purchased, what um, it's on the menu for dinner or breakfast or lunch, or when to have snacks, or you know um, so that it's just a regular everyday life.
Right.
um,
But it's nice that they can form bonds with other individuals who that might live in the home. And then is there a
yes,
caretaker in the home as well?
yes, so we have up to four individuals living in most of our homes. We have one home with just three. Each of them
Okay.
have their own bedroom. They can choose to decorate it the way they want. They all have cable TV. We have staff that come in and work different shifts, usually 3 in the afternoon to midnight, and then someone comes in at midnight and works until 8:30, and then they come here to the community day services during the day. On the weekends, we have people who work from basically 12 noon to 12 a.m. and then 12 a.m. to 12 p.m. Um, and they go out on community activities and do those kind of things.
So I have a question for you, Julie. If you are not in need of a home, let's say that you do have family in the area and you're able to stay with your family, can you still utilize the day services there?
Absolutely. We have many, many clients who come just to utilize our day program. Some of them come part-time where they'll just come, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Some of them do come 5 days a week. And so that's another great resource that we do offer for as you said, other individuals who may still be living with their families. But, it gives them the opportunity to have a little bit of independence and make their own social connections and take advantage of the wonderful outings and activities that we provide for our clients here. So it's really great.
That's fantastic. So how many people do you have on site every day? By the time you have your people come in and from the houses?
Yeah, I'd say we're right now between 60 and 70 clients on average every day. As I mentioned, some people do come part-time, so that
Sure.
can change, but yeah.
Wow, that's a lot of people to be able to service. So now, Ernie, you work as a not-for-profit. So how does the funding come? Do you rely on the community to fund a lot of the programs in addition to any kind of grants that you might receive?
We're primarily state funded. All our clients are Medicaid recipients.
Okay.
So the state, the Department of Developmental Disabilities through the Department of Human Services in Illinois, they fund us, whether it's for SILA programming or for community day programming or surface facilitation, sometimes called, where so they have funding they use to provide that. So the state, it comes out to about 80 cents on the dollar for what it costs to provide services that we get funded for. That's why fundraising, and grants are so important to us.
Sure, absolutely. So as to that other 20%, it seems to me that the community involvement is really critical to your organization on an ongoing basis. Would that be true?
Correct. Yes.
And then how do you try to get that community involvement in funding? Do you have fundraisers? Can you tell us a little bit about those opportunities for somebody who might be listening?
Yeah, I'll let Julie talk about that.
All right.
Yes, my department actually handles the fundraising, so it's a big thing for us here. We have several different events throughout the year that people can get involved in and become supporters of Lark through. Coming up, we have our golf outing in August that we would love people to be able to support. But yeah, all of that information regarding our upcoming events is available on our website. So anybody who wants to check it out and become a supporter of Lark that way, they can do that.
So what about volunteer opportunities? As a not-for-profit, do you have that as well?
Yes, we do. So again, people can visit our website and figure out if we would be a good fit for them. For anybody who would like to volunteer or contribute their time or services, especially if somebody has a particular skill that they would like to share with our clients, we love that. If they wanted to come in and kind of run a workshop or a seminar or a class on some skill or activity or craft, that's always great. And so, yeah, we definitely welcome that.
That's
So
fantastic. Go
we've
ahead.
we've had individuals come in and teach our clients sign language.
Nice.
We've also had groups come in and do like planting flowers at the houses, doing landscaping, things like that. Groups that have done that. We had a church group repaint and rebuild our picnic pavilion outside of our building.
Okay.
They repaired and built us with 3 new picnic tables.
Wow,
And
that's great.
the other 4. So there's a lot of different things that people can do to help out. It is
Absolutely.
our
Right.
goal to try to engage the clients in the community, not only from getting things from the community, but also giving back and doing things for the community.
Sure. No, and there's a lot of opportunities for that. And I'm thinking about a corporate team building event where you might want to have your business take a half day or come and put on a program of something that you might know, and that becomes an absolutely wonderful opportunity for that exposure as well. And then if somebody's interested, even in looking at the skills that you're able to teach them, maybe hiring somebody or, come with some kind of placement or opportunity is another way. So
Right.
we've talked about ways that people in the community can get involved either individually or on a corporate level. But let's say we have a listener today, because we often get that where individuals are trying to put together, their estate plan or, as our firm does both family law and estate planning, we'll get a lot of calls and it'll be, look, my child is now in his 50s and we are aging out. Maybe we have an illness and we're not going to have that opportunity to be able to continue to care for them either we can't or we're passed away ourselves. How does somebody get a hold of, and where should they start if they're listening today? Maybe they didn't put that life plan together too early on, and now here they wake up to a new problem. Where do you think people should begin, Ernie?
Well, they should begin by giving somebody, an organization like us, a call. We will direct them to a service coordination person. Like there's a South Suburban group that they're independent service coordinators, um, and they work with families to if they're not already in the system, to get them into the system, get them signed up, get them the kind of funding. If it's an emergency situation where, we had a situation a couple of years ago where uh, one of the parents passed away, and the mother said, look, I need to, get my son into a group home. I can't take care of him.
Right.
This was on a Friday. On a Monday, we got a call from the individual sister saying, my mom passed away. Now we're in a crisis. So
Right.
the state, these individual service coordinators will then, expedite the situation and get that person into services as quickly as possible.
That's fantastic. And I'm sure that individuals can always call your organization and
Right.
you'll then direct them where they need to go.
Right.
Because I think that a lot of people who might be tuning in saying, oh, well, we thought that we could provide everything that we needed to do. And I find and maybe you find this, but I'm finding that on an increase in our practice, just seeing people who took on the situation. They stayed, they got services early on, and then as the years went by, they just integrated the individual into their home life, and that was fine for the time being. But as you transition, and we all are getting older every day, right? You need that additional help. So that's absolutely wonderful news. And I would encourage anybody listening is that you can't do this on your own. You've got to reach out. There are services, and there's nothing to be afraid of. Wouldn't you say that that's true, guys?
Yes. In fact, a month ago, I was working out at my local health club, and I had on a Lark shirt, and a guy stopped me and said, I know what Lark is.
Right.
And he has a special needs daughter, and he said, but they live in Indiana and we're in Illinois.
Okay.
He said, my wife and I are getting older. We're not sure what we're going to do with her. And I, got the information for the people in Indiana for him to contact. And I said, you got to do this now because you don't know if unfortunately, something might happen to you or your wife. And then,
Right.
She's left without anybody. So
That's correct. Right.
I'm running into more and more of that.
Yes, and so are we. And so I would say to everybody listening, the time is now. We have to take that, it's kind of like the elephant in the room that sometimes, we don't want to talk about, but sometimes talking about it can put a plan in place. And it doesn't mean that the plan has to be expensive or extensive right now. You could go in a part-time program with Lark, correct? And
Yes.
start there. And then if you need additional services as time goes on, that can be accommodated, is what I understand.
Yes.
So, I mean, there's so many opportunities and so much involvement. Also, I think that it is very healthy. And um, Julie, I'm sure that you've seen this in your practice and your work there of people needing to have a social outlet as well. Would that be a fair statement?
Absolutely, most definitely. Everybody needs to have a social outlet, you, me, everybody. And so that's what's so great about our day program is that there are a wide variety of activities and outings that people can come and participate in and make those social connections. So.
Yeah, that's absolutely wonderful. Ernie, if you would say as a practitioner in the area of mental health, the most important service you think can be provided for somebody with developmental disabilities, what do you think that would be?
Well, that's a good question. Probably socialization.
Right.
Most often they're isolated. They don't make friends easy. Once they're out of school as adults, they're usually just sitting at home. And they need an outlet. They need to hang around with people like themselves, who accept them for who they are and the abilities that they have.
Right. And they do have abilities. There are things that can
Yes.
be done. There are skills that are out there. It's all a different variety. We all can't be of the same kind, right? And do
Right.
the same thing every day. That's not what makes the world work or go around, as they would say in old lines. So I think that this conversation is so important to urge that parent or that family members out there And, when I was younger, it wasn't as accepted. I remember when the first Scylla home came in our community, it was kind of a shock for people in the neighborhood. But then as time went on, right? Then I watched as a child, I was a teenager, watched the neighborhood evolve and accept it. And it was kind of like they became our friends in the neighborhood, right? Just a
Right.
normal part of life. And I think that a lot of time has passed, and sometimes we're not doing that integration as we should. And so Lark really gives an opportunity for people to get involved. So whether you're listening today and you need help from an individual capacity, and you have a family member, maybe you're an aunt or uncle, there's nothing greater that you can do than to reach out and reach for the services. A lot of times, I'm hearing, as an attorney, well, they don't know about it. They don't know where to start. That's why we ask those questions. And then flip that opportunity over. Lark gives you a lot of opportunities like the golf outing. And I'm sure, Julie, you have other programs that are exciting. What other annual type fundraisers do you have?
Yeah, so we also have our appreciation dinner that's coming up in the spring. And so it's almost like a gala where you come, we have a great dinner, we've got music and dancing, there's a silent auction, which is a big part of the event. But the biggest part, I think, is we use it as an appreciation night for our clients and our staff. And we recognize clients and staff who um, are meeting milestone years with the organization. So we have some clients who've been with us for 40 years, and so it's a great night for us to really recognize their contributions to making Lark what it is today. And so that's another great one that people can get involved in as well. We do a pancake breakfast also. We did it in the spring this past year. I think we'll do it in the fall next year just to change it up. We've got a craft beer tasting event that we're doing coming up in the fall. So lots of different things for different people to get involved in, whatever suits them best.
Right. And so if somebody's looking for those opportunities, they go to your website, or do you also have social media outlets?
Yes, we have a website. We also have social media. So follow us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and X. And then check out our website as well.
Very good. And Ernie, any last words to that family out there that's listening that you'd like to urge or share with somebody you thought after being in the industry for so many years?
The biggest adjustment I made coming from child welfare to this population was the fact that they seemed so segregated and kept safe. They had what we called sheltered workshops, and that was their life and their career. Here at Lark and other organizations are trying to get them out into the community and expose them to become useful and productive members of the community.
100%, right.
And families need to realize that, yes, it might be a scary world out there, but it's far scarier to be alone and isolated than to go out and meet friends and develop relationships. And that's what, Lark is about. So if they're afraid of what to do, give us a call. We'll walk them through the process.
That's
We'll help them make it as easy as possible. That personal connection is what is usually the first step into getting into the service.
perfect. Well, I admire what both of you do, and we really appreciate your time today. Thank you, and we're privileged to honor you as one of our not-for-profit heroes of the month.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Gwen.